Alright, well, I'm out here working again. And they're not done, but these headers are welded up now. And this has been, well, a learning experience because my TIG welding skills aren't the best, and especially not with stainless. Stainless is a little temperamental. You gotta be a little bit more careful with it. You have to back purge it. So you have to tape off, seal up with some aluminum foil, plug off the ports, and pretty much pump argon into any tubes you're welding so you don't sugar the backs. If anybody's done TIG welding, you probably already know this. But anyways, you'll have to ignore the original pie cut welds that were learning experiences. They are terrible, and I tried to grind them off a little bit to get rid of how terrible they were. I don't doubt that they're strong enough to hold, but they're not pretty. That pie cut on the end was when I started to figure out how to weld stainless. And then these V-band flanges, minus this little bit at the top where I kind of lost positioning, but they turned out a little bit better. Make sure the sucker's not still hot, but much better. It's not a stack of dimes per se, but I have color, which isn't necessarily a good thing in stainless welding, but it's not dark gray. Now that's mainly two things. One, I'm probably still putting too much heat in it. And two, I'm not getting enough gas coverage. My TIG is just this little low-dose CD520D. And most TIG welders, when you buy them, this knob here, you can adjust the max amperage for when you're using a pedal. This one doesn't. You either set it on a switch and the amperage, or you set it to pedal and it's 0 to 200 amps. No happy in between. You can't set a max pedal amperage. And my post flow for gas, the most I can get is 5 seconds. It's not enough for these to cure up, at least not the way I'm welding. I'm not talented enough to do it in 5 seconds. So you pretty much have to have your beads that you're running, or your weld that you're making, has to be cool enough to where whenever you finish passing that cup away from it, it's already cured up completely and the oxygen's not going to affect it. That's what's given these blue and purple colors, is oxygen hitting it. It'll be perfectly silver until the gas flow stops, and then they'll flash to that color. It's just oxygen hitting on that with that heat still in it. But anyways, I'm no expert TIG. I'm not gonna feed what might be inaccurate information, but that's just what I've come to the understanding of. But anyways, I'm satisfied with that. So hopefully now my crossover from my other pie cuts that will be more visible will look better. But once these cool off, I'll take the tape off and take the caps off the ends. Make sure my flanges didn't warp, hopefully I didn't. And I'll bolt this back up to the car. Now what I might do is bolt them up facing rearwards, because I still am undecided on turbo, along with another predicament I'm not really sure of. Still waiting on my radiator and my oil. So forward facing, this filter is like stupid close to that header. I don't know how close you can actually put this oil filter to the header before the temperature starts becoming a problem heating the oil, but it's closer than I'd prefer. Like I said, I have the remote set up, but I don't know where to mount this. Talked about this in the last video, I believe, but my plan was to mount it somewhere down here. Depending on where I mount my turbo, I don't know how my crossover pipe is gonna come across and where it's gonna come up. That other V-band comes out to about right here. So, right about here. And it's either gonna have to go up, which would clear this oil filter fine, and turbo mount, you know, ballpark this area, or it would come down past, like right in front of this sway bar. Tubing would come across. This is the piece of shit they sent me the other day that I'm waiting on a swap, but it will come across roughly right here. And I'm hoping this temp won't be a problem on this belt. Hopefully it won't be too close. I might end up having to wrap it. I'll have to research more. I know one of the commenters said something about not wrapping stainless, and I would kind of understand that because I know stainless can't handle a whole lot of heat, and header wrap more or less traps the heat in the header and doesn't let it radiate out. So the metal, the stainless is going to get a lot hotter. Your exhaust temps are going to be a lot hotter. But watching, I think it's Fab Forum, he TIG welded up all his stainless exhaust and he header wrapped it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to research that a bit and see what the pros and cons are, if it's worth it, if you just can't run it really hard with it wrapped, etc. I don't know, because wrapping might end up being a requirement because of how tight some of this stuff is going to be. But anyways, what I might do, like I was saying, is face those rearward, because the only thing right now holding this up from cranking is the exhaust. The radiator is keeping it from running for a long period of time. I could crank it without a radiator. And I think just exhaust, really. I mean, I have to run my O2 sensor for my Holly. But other than that, exhaust is the main holdup. I do need to either Teflon this plug down here or put the NPT fitting that I'm gonna run in it for a return line and put a cap on it, because oil is seeping past these threads. I didn't think the oil would actually come up all the way to the top of this when it's full, but oil is coming up around these threads, so I have to seal that better. I tried tightening it up thinking it would seal it, and it doesn't. I'll need to pull this belt on the power steering if I don't have my power steering lines hooked up yet whenever I fire it up, because I don't want to run my pump dry, burn it up. Not a big deal, I can just take this belt off. I still have to order my cooling lines whenever I get my radiator, because I don't know what length I'll need to run to this. Once I get my headers in place, I have to run my ignition wires, put my new spark plugs in, and I got a baggie of goodies. Whole bunch of these fittings from this SS dude. These are all my oil line fittings. Another thing I did do, see wiring. I ran my power to the starter, and it just kind of cable loops back here. Then I ran the alternator one. It just loops, follows the valve covers around right here. And then I also ran the block ground, which is here. And it bolts right there. But it loops right next to this fuel line. I used a clamp, one of those double tubing clamps, to keep the ground held back and out of the way. It just comes back to this bulkhead, that way my exhaust can flow through here without an issue. I'm probably going to end up having to wrap this wire with fiberglass wrap. Right now it's just this nylon braid. Pretty sure the exhaust is going to melt that. We'll find out. That stuff can't handle a whole lot of heat, so that's just nylon. I did go ahead and burn a little bit of stimulus money on some essential goods. I ordered gauges for my gauge pod. I think I showed you all this before. It is this right here, and it fits right here, like so. Can't hold it there with a damn, but if it's there, it faces the driver's side. That will be boost pressure, or boost and vacuum, air fuel, oil temp. Those gauges are on the way. I ended up getting them. There's actually somebody on eBay selling them still. If anybody is wanting cobalt gauges, he's wanting 75 bucks a piece for them. They're like $150 to $200 gauges. they look a little rough and I didn't trust it. So I bought new ones that I found on eBay for about $100 a piece, roughly. I think I paid full price for one of them. I think the air fuel, but got a really good deal on 2 of them, so went ahead and got them. But yeah, so those gauges will be in here, and I'll have them next week. And yeah, like I said, I gotta start welding up my my pippity pipes and get my radiator back so I can start fabbing up that for where it's gonna mount up. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Oh yeah, what I mentioned about this is an eBay special. It's supposed to be all stainless. That's some doo-doo flux core MIG wire. That's what it looks like. This is mild steel. The only thing stainless on this thing is the braid itself. So I raised a little bit of hell. Also, if anybody's doing V-band clamps or ordering V-band flanges, clamps, these that I've got here, they're off of Amazon. They're made by a company called eSpeeder. They're like a China Bing Bong AliExpress special. You can get them from AliExpress, but you're gonna be waiting a while. Amazon, you still might be waiting a while. But anyways, these clamps are amazing for what they are. They have these steel lock nuts, none of that Teflon nylock nut crap. They are heavy duty V-band clamps. It's all stainless. They use a big T-bolt. The flanges have the recessed lip for the tubing. They also are male and female keyed for the inside. I ordered a set that were eBay junk. They showed up rusted. They're stainless steel. They refunded me. Raised hell with them. But yeah, if anybody wants V-bands or is planning on running exhaust clamps, these are $40 for a pair, or $45 for a pair, something like that. They come in like 2 through 3, 3.5, something like that. Amazing quality, very nice. Anyways, that's it, guys. I'll hopefully have maybe radiator next time, or at least exhaust mount bolted up and starting to run the exhaust. I still have to order O2 bungs, so I'll be placing an order for those here soon. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Later.